All right. Hey, Cody, thanks for taking the time to talk with me today.
You're welcome, Stephen. Excited to. I joined early November. I think that there were three of us at that time.
Yeah, you were one of my first clients for sure. And so, yeah, I guess I'll ask, like, where were you before joining the program? And what was the biggest challenge that you needed help with that made you want to join something like this?
Yeah, so I was in a big transition time after shutting one business down and kind of being in the beginning stages of another business, and it being long term, not wanting to take capital out of that business. Uh, and so I was going to be looking for, all right, I've got some time now. What do I want to do with this? What strategies do I want to use in the market? And do I want to, for the first time, try to work in the market for actual income instead of just long-term investment strategies? So that's when my eyes started opening towards different ideas. And of course, once you do that, things kind of come out of the woodwork, right? So a lot of what I saw was advertisements and things that were hard to vet and difficult to get clear answers, and had a lot of people who were, coming from my own sales consultancy. They were using tactics, and I didn't see the substance of what I really wanted to see there. So as you well know, when I reached out to you, one of the first things I said was that I liked that you were a guy holding his phone in his house talking about his investment strategy. And it seemed like you knew what you were doing, not just from the way that you talked about it, but it was very clear, concise. There weren't huge promises being made. It was like, here's what I do. This is how I find this information. You could find it on your own, but I put it together and I help you kind of step through it, which at that time, I think we were also doing, there was coaching involved in that as well, right? And I know that I didn't need as much coaching as you were offering, but that it would be helpful for me to sort of vet you in that process. And so I was thankful that that was a part of it too.
Nice. So you were shutting down your business and you had some long-term investments. And I think you said at the time that you had some medium-term things, but you were
Mhm.
really looking to make more income.
Yeah, so my long term was kind of typical stuff that, uh, 10 years ago or so, maybe 15 years ago, people know they put in long term investments for real estate, or excuse me, for retirement. And then I had some shorter term new business investments in real estate that I did not want to try to make money from and live off of. So I was looking at, how can I do this in a way that I take the cash I have, invest it, and get a more quick return that I can use actually to live on in certain ways. So I was looking at your strategy and a couple other, and ultimately decided on going with yours
So now
first.
that you've been trading with the system for almost 6 months now,
Mhm.
um, kind of how has it been exactly?
It was probably about 2 months in before I started to be like, oh, I can figure some of this out on my own and do it. And that went poorly. Uh,
Mm,
it went it went well enough for a short amount of time for me to be very naively confident.
I remember that.
Yeah. And but I'm glad for that. Really could have looked at that as a moment of saying, this doesn't work, I'm moving on. But really, that was me. It wasn't your program. So once I decided to be like, wait, why are you trying to reinvent something that you paid Steven to do and he is doing every day? And your write-ups and your willingness to communicate, I think your willingness to accept kind of some ideas and approaches from other people, but still stay true to what you were trying to build, helped grow my confidence of being like, okay, I can do the parts of this that I know, but for a new strategy, I'm just going to go the direction Steven is going and really just not think about it much. Um, which for people like me who either grow businesses or something, we often feel like the way that we do this is by trying, and we like to take risks and we like to do things. So it's a little bit antithetical to go into an investment situation and not try to vet it and then try to improve it. But in this situation, I think it's helpful to get your feet wet and then follow the alerts. And as we've seen in the last few months, sometimes there's a long time where there's not a lot, right? But what that means is we're still keeping, you always say stay patient. I kind of think about it as, this is us, we're digging for the right investment, we're going for the diamond, we're not just stopping at the emeralds or the rubies, right? So like, as we're seeking that out and we wait for those opportunities, those have been, the win rate has been really good. The good ones that fit all the parameters that you've built and that you're continuing to build usually go well.
What would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining?
I would say this, the value of your experience is completely up to you. And the way that I would place it on your shoulders is to say, just follow 100% qualified trades for a while. You might have, like I did, you might have 8 of those in the first month, or I think it was close to 8 of those. There may have been more. I could look back, but you might have 0. But while we can't make people buy at these companies, we can't make the insiders buy, we can see what they're doing. And when they're convinced, that's when it goes well for us. So if you wait for those right opportunities, they will go well. Just follow what the system is without deviating from it until you've gotten enough reps to really understand it. If you do that, the system will not seem expensive to you. At the beginning, I see how it could be. This is, I am a part of other systems that are less expensive than this, but I think that I'm getting what I paid for in here, because these are things that you have to be paying attention to every day, like you are, Stephen, to grow and to optimize and to figure out what we can do next and how we can get better. And it continues to get better. So if you're willing to be a part of something as it grows and participate in that upside, then I think that Wall Street Vision is a good place for you to be.
What have you thought of kind of the program as it's evolved over the past few months?
The changes, the strategies that you've implemented, or the additional features that you've added since I've joined, I think that the single biggest one has been establishing the take profit zones. I think that's worked really well. And if that was something you were doing before, it wasn't something that was really like codified. And then you got to a point where you codified it. And then at first it was in, I think we're going to do take profit zones. Wait, I'm going to look at what percentage of things actually get to their ATR. Wait, what percentage do they go higher? You know, what percentage of the ATR do they go higher? So now I just, in my own spreadsheet, built a calculator that I throw in the ATR and the previous close every day. And I'm marking everything from -50, -25, regular, and all the way up. So that's where I take my profits. That has helped me be more profitable. It also helps me visualize more of what the actual movement and momentum is of this thing during the day. And there seems to be similar patterns in that first 90 minutes of the market opening when there are multiple insider buys, no matter the volume. It seems to have this, like, you know, nothing goes straight from 0 to 100. It always has an up to the right sort of thing. And you kind of get a feeling for it the more reps you get. So I think that's been, for me, the number one most profitable, which of course related to that you said is the bot telling you, hey, we're taking trades here. And I have started to use that more. Okay, yes, I'm going to wait till that signals and then be like, great, that's where I got close to. I just started doing the SPY trading stuff. It kind of feels like camaraderie, right? In the group, we have something we're moving toward together for people who are interested in that. And that's a really exciting thing because of what you often talk about, leverage long-term. I think that's good. That's a good feature add. It's got to mature before it will feel like it's something really strong. But for people who understand the size of that market and want to eventually be able to trade with millions, especially through leverage, this gives us an uncapped upside.
And that's how, yeah, thanks. It's definitely very new and needs to mature for sure. It could just completely break. We'll see.
Sure.
But if we just continue working at it, even if it takes 2 years or something, like that's kind of the idea, is once we do figure it out, we kind of unlock like unlimited potential.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Cody. Any other final closing thoughts?
Yeah, I would say the best kind of people to be an investment group with are people who are going to participate, but also people who are they're not bringing their ego to the door. They're not trying to teach everybody in the group what to do. They're also not trying to always undermine the system and all this. They're willing to say, hey, cool, we can all improve this together. We know we'll have our ups and downs, and then they're willing to participate to try to grow it. And it gets better with more people in a group who are willing to have that attitude, contribute to something together as it can grow. And I think part of that takes a leader who's willing to say, I'll do the work, but then also like, what do you guys think? Where do you contribute here? Not just as a stroke to your own ego, but as a true listener to the participants who are willing to grow something together. So it takes both the people who are willing to do it and then a person willing to lead that. And I think that there's a lot of groups who think they can do that. A lot of people have good systems. You don't know it until you try it. And I would say that that's what this group is. We're growing that into a group of people who want to build something good with opportunities for the upside like you're doing. And I won't easily let that go. So I would say if somebody's looking for something that they don't really have to vet, as much. We're kind of always already doing that, right? Our group isn't big. Our group is big enough. And as it grows and continues to grow, we just want people who would like to participate in the system and help it get better across the board.